Okay, hi y'all. We are in a visual encyclopedia and we are on page 122 and 123. So this is entitled Government for the People. So progressive reformers wanted to make government more responsive to the needs and desires of the people. Their goal was to limit the power of political bosses, reduce the influence of giant corporations, and give average people a stronger voice in the city government. We've got a really cool picture there. That's Summit Street in Toledo, Ohio, around 1900 to 1910. Look at all those women walking with the hats and the dresses. That's crazy how different it was just 100 and something years ago. So improving city life. In most cities at the turn of the century, private companies had exclusive control of or monopolies. Remember, we've talked about monopolies, right? When you have a company that basically is the only telephone company, then you don't get to choose from other telephone companies and they can charge more money. So we try to prevent monopolies. So utilities, including electric power, water, telephone, and trolley cars, were basically monopolies. When Samuel Jones was elected mayor of Toledo, Ohio in 1897, he was determined to put the city in control of the utilities as a first step toward creating honest, efficient government. He succeeded. The city managers put limits on how much the utilities could charge and required that good, reliable service be provided. Jones wanted to run the city by the golden rule, which was printed on a sign in his office. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which is actually from the Bible. The city of Toledo also built parks and playgrounds, provided free band concerts, and established a free kindergarten. In 1912, Dayton, Ohio faced emergency problems because of a flood. This is over on the right side. The result of fixing the problems was a new form of city government. Instead of having an elected mayor, the city council decided to hire a professional manager. Councilmen elected by the people continued to decide what would happen, but the manager, which was a person with business experience, was responsible for how the city's various departments were run. The city manager system was soon adopted throughout the country. Progressives liked hiring outsiders with no connection to political machines or party bosses to run the day-to-day operations. And those words are defined there. A party machine is a political party in a city or state tightly controlled by political bosses, who are small groups of men with huge influence who promote policy that benefits them personally. And then you have got page 123 now. We've got another picture there of the city street there, which is really cool. And we've got a picture up there of Robert M. La Follette, I don't know exactly how to pronounce that. He was the most famous progressive in state government. He fought to overcome the all-powerful political party machines in Wisconsin before being elected governor in 1900. His nickname was Battling Bob. His goal was to give people more control over government. He has got quite a head of hair there, doesn't he? Look at him. That's a fluffy head of hair. It's pretty fluffy. Come see, Lily. You have to tell me if you think it's fluffy. Lily's going to weigh in. My friend Lily's going to weigh in on his fluffy head. It's pretty fluffy for like a 70-something-year-old guy, right? Maybe it's a bad picture. We'll see if we can find some other pictures of him. Wisconsin became one of the first states to use a direct primary, where voters, rather than political parties, choose candidates to run for the office. Battling Bob also passed a law requiring that civil service workers take exams to qualify for jobs. That way, party bosses couldn't hire their friends in exchange for political favorites. So you had to actually be a good person to get it. To reduce the power of utility companies, he established commissions to watch the cost and the quality of service. Professors from the University of Wisconsin served on the commissions, and he worked with the university's president to make sure powerful lumber companies did not overuse the state's forests. His reforms became known as the Wisconsin Idea. And then we've got better government for Galveston here. This was when a tidal wave struck Galveston in September of 1900. It was a hurricane. I actually remember that. It's one of the worst hurricanes, I believe, in the last 150 years. I actually think, if I look it up, it may be the worst because 6,000 people died. Of course, a lot of that came down to the fact, right, that houses weren't built to withstand hurricanes at that point. And it destroyed nearly half of the city's buildings. The tragedy itself was terrible, but the widespread looting, that's like robbing, going to places and robbing because nobody can take care of their buildings, or the buildings are destroyed, right? And the windows are cracked and the doors are open, and so people just go in, made it worse. To speed cleanup and rebuilding, the city hired individual commissioners to direct operations of several departments, including safety, public health, and utilities. As the city recovered, voters decided to keep the commission form of government. By 1912, more than 200 other communities had adopted the plan. In traditional city governments with elected mayors and councils, it was often hard to tell who was responsible for solving particular problems. The commission system assigned specific jobs to departments, making for a more active, responsive government. And then on the bottom there, we've got government reforms, and that's a really cool picture. That may be the other side of the city street. I think it is. In Oregon, reformer William S., I've never seen this name, U''REN, Urin, established the referendum in which the people voted to decide some issues directly. In New York, Governor Charles Evans Hughes pushed through the first Workmen's Compensation Act, providing benefits for injured workers. The secret ballot was one of many reforms first proposed by the populists. In the past, each party had a brightly colored ballot. After marking it, the voter dropped it into a ballot box in full view of everyone in the room. The secret ballots looked the same and were marked in private, so people did not have to reveal how they were voted. Because otherwise, if you got this color and everyone's like, well, you better vote for me, and then you go in there, you can't actually vote for who you want. But if it's secret, you can do that. And that's actually what they found in the election. You guys may not remember it, but it was election of 2016, which was between Trump and Clinton. And, you know, all the polls were showing that Clinton was going to win. But when people actually went in there, they found that they were actually voting for Trump more, and he won. And that was part of the thing, that once they were by themselves, they felt like they could do that and not have to tell everyone. Otherwise, at the polls, right, polls would wait for you outside and be like, hey, who'd you vote for? And they take kind of a survey. And they might lie in the survey, but they wouldn't really lie in the real vote. Okay, so that's the end of that. I might put up a couple of videos. If I do, watch them.